What a mess. Hello guys, how you doing? So, Act 3, Scene 2 today. Obviously, we just had all the drama from Act 3, Scene 1. And as we know, we've hit over that kind of little ledge of tragedy, and we're now into the downward spiral. Juliet sat alone, and we're getting a similar structure in terms of the scene to when Juliet was waiting for the nurse to come back with the news about whether Romeo has organised the marriage or not. And we get a similar kind of attitude from Juliet. We're seeing kind of a characteristic pattern there. Then we learn about one of the things that she's most looking forward to. She describes night as love performing. Yeah. And that lovers can see to do their amorous rites by their own beauties. So she's basically talking about there that, you know, even in the dark, beauty helps lovers do their lustful rites, as in consummating the marriage, so having sex. So this is on her mind as well. Okay, so just got married and she has no idea what's happened yet. Then we get some more kind of lustful language. Come night, come Romeo, come thou day and night. So again, the kind of sexual imagery being used there. She also says, give me my Romeo, and when I shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars. Now we're seeing kind of an intratextual reference there to star-crossed lovers, but also the foreshadowing that when she does die, he is kind of part of fate. Yeah, the idea that the stars lead us to fate in terms of context. Then Shakespeare uses the metaphor, look, oh, I have bought the mansion of love. As if kind of, possession is not needed and that love is a possession almost, that she feels rich just by being in love. So she's bought a mansion of a love. Though, of course, she does then say that she hasn't got it yet. And even though she is sold, she's not yet enjoying it. So, yes, we're married, but we've not yet been able to enjoy that marriage. So then enters the nurse, and we hear the kind of the desperate questioning again from Juliet. What news? What hast thou there? The cords that Romeo bid thee fetch? So a lot of questions throwing straight away. There's also going to be an irony here as well. Every tongue that speaks but Romeo's name speaks heavenly eloquence. So she thinks that anything that is to do with Romeo at all is going to be heavenly and beautiful and perfect. And obviously we know that's not the case. Then Juliet gets a bit panicky because the nurse comes in, has that rope ladder and just drops it. And she says, what news? Why do you wring your hands like this? Kind of concerned. She's just wringing her hands. She doesn't know how to say. Now the nurse, as we know, is very kind of over the top. And the way that she describes Romeo's banishment at first seems like he's dead. She says, we're a day, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. We are undone, he's gone, he's killed, he's dead. Okay, so she comes in talking about Tybalt, but also that Romeo's been banished. That's what she's trying to tell Juliet. But also, she's not maybe wording it in the clearest of way. So Juliet takes it as Romeo is dead. And she says, can heaven be so envious? Can the heavens stop being so jealous of me that I'm so in love and I've married this guy and they can't stand it, so they have to take Romeo from her because only the gods could want Romeo more than her. Now again, we see the syntactical pattern. Look, oh Romeo, Romeo. We've seen it now in the balcony scene from Juliet. We've seen it in Act 3, Scene 1 from Benvolio, and now we're seeing it from the nurse in Act 3, Scene 2. Okay? And every time it's been questioning Romeo's character and why he has to be the way he is. Why do you have to be called Romeo and a Montague? And then Benvolio, why do you have to be Romeo? Why did you have to do this? Yeah? And now again, the nurse is asking the same question. Oh, Romeo, Romeo. Whoever would have thought it, Romeo. Then Juliet calls her the devil. What devil art thou that dost torment me thus? How could you be so evil and kind of torment me? Tell me what's happened. Is he alive? How did he die? Did he kill himself? Look, hath Romeo slain himself? And again, similar to before, she's asking just for a few words just to clarify what's going on. Brief sounds determining my weal or woe. Tell me what is going on. Just a few little sounds from your mouth will ease my pain or confirm my pain. She needs to know. At the moment, she's in a kind of limbo. Yeah? There's no certainty for her. Then we get some really kind of negative description here, some really kind of dark semantic, violent semantic fields. A piteous corse, a bloody piteous corse, corse meaning corpse, so a dead body. Pale, pale as ashes. Think about what ashes are, burn things, and also ashes to ashes, dust to dust, cremation. Bedaubed in blood, all gore blood, loads and loads and loads of kind of violent Lexis there. Okay. Then the nurse kind of gives it away. Oh, Tybalt, Tybalt, the best friend I ever had. Courteous Tybalt, honest gentleman, that I should ever live to see thee dead. And Juliet kind of is confused by this and says, what storm is this that blows so contrary? And there's kind of a pathetic fallacy link there. That this kind of dark cloud that you've put over me, what's going on? Because it's contrary to what I thought you were talking about. Because you've just mentioned Tybalt now. Is Romeo slaughtered and is Tybalt dead? Now, great quote here, look. My dearest cousin and my dearer lord. Think about the use of adjectives there. You've got the superlative, dearest, yeah? That she is saying Tybalt is the dearest person, the dearest cousin. There is nothing beyond something superlative. There is nothing beyond a dearest, okay? And yet, she's saying that Romeo is even better than something that cannot be beaten. So the family love she has for Tybalt cannot be beaten, and yet she calls Romeo her dearer lord. So Shakespeare's kind of, leading us to believe this extreme love that she has for her family, but also for Romeo, and how hyperbolic it is. Then the nurse finally says it. Tybalt is gone and Romeo are banished. Romeo that killed him, he is banished. Now then we get a pattern of oxymorons, and we've seen these from Romeo before. She talks about beautiful tyrant, fiend angelical, dove-feathered raven, wolvish ravening lamb, honourable villain. There's all these kind of juxtapositional ideas that she's throwing together because it's almost as if it's been a lie for her at this point, that she sees Romeo as this amazing thing that's now killed her cousin, that's killed someone she loves dearly. Okay? So, again, we're seeing kind of the impulsive attitude there from Juliet, that she's throwing out these terms, and you can probably guess, but she changes her mind quickly. Now, we talked about with Romeo that oxymorons are kind of symbolic of confusion, and I think it's similar here, that she's got huge internal conflict here. Huge internal conflict. She doesn't know what to feel. Yeah? She's so confused, and Shakespeare's showing that through the language, basically. We're seeing that they are very, very similar characters here in Romeo. They've both shown confusion through oxymorons. And Shakespeare's, made a pattern and a link between them and given kind of similar characteristics in terms of the language use to both characters. It's almost as if maybe since marriage and their souls have become one, that they are basically the same person now. That they're becoming kind of a similar being that exists together. The nurse then moves on and kind of agrees with her, really, and says, there's no trust, no faith, no honesty in men. Yeah, think about that asynthetic list there. Asyndetic list. Stutter. And then we get this kind of pattern of determiners here, look. All perjured, all forsworn, all not, all dissemblers. Okay? She asks for some water, give me some aqua vitae. And she says, shame come to Romeo. Now again, think about how blistering a kind of term that would be, that she's asking for shame to be brought on Romeo. Juliet doesn't respond kindly to that. Blistered be thy tongue for such a wish. So she then changes her mind, and oh, what a beast was I to chide at him, to insult him, to mock him, to say such horrible things about him. She's really, really internally conflicted. Her head's all over the place right now. And then we get kind of an interesting little dialogue here. Will you speak well of him that killed your cousin? How can, this is family. And she kind of responds basically by saying that love is romantic love is more important than family love. She says, shall I speak ill of him that is my husband? She kind of outranks the nurse there. Yes, cousin, but husband. Husband's more important to me. Then we get a whole kind of description of how confused she is, and again, internal conflicts all the way through this. But some of the key parts, that one word banished hath slain 1,000 Tybalts. 10,000 Tybalts, sorry. It's as if hearing the word banished for Romeo is like having your cousin killed 10,000 times over. That's how much pain she's feeling, and upset, and how hurt she is, emotively. Okay? And how hurt she is emotionally. So, 10,000 Tybalts. She would rather have 10,000 cousins murdered than have Romeo banished. And remember, Romeo kind of got off lightly. He got off without really being punished in the eyes of the law, because he should have been killed. Absolutely should have been killed. Legally, that's what it said. Now then, as we go down, we kind of, it asks who, where the parents are and all that kind of stuff. And Juliet says a little phrase here that actually is going to be similarly seen later on. She says, "Wash they his wounds with tears?" Like, are you going to try and wash Tybalt's wounds with tears? Why are they even crying about this? Mine shall be spent when theirs are dry for Romeo's banishment. Yeah? So she, again, has got her priorities very much fixed in one place. She then also kind of makes an interesting point and a foreshadowing as well. "I'll to my wedding bed, and death, not Romeo, take my maidenhead." So maidenhead meaning virginity. So she says, "I'll go to my wedding bed, and do you know what? I'm going to die a virgin, because if he's banished and I can't be with him, then no one else is for me." And also the foreshadowing maybe of her death as well. "Not Romeo, take my maidenhead." So the nurse tries to comfort her here, okay, and says, "Right, I know you're upset. I'll try and find him, and this rope ladder is here for a reason that was before all this happened, and I'll see if we can organize that still, that he can come and visit you, and you can have a night together before he's exiled." Now I think again, Romeo was risking his life last time by going in the balcony scene when he'd done nothing wrong, except being from a different family. Now he's literally killed Lord Capulet's nephew and Juliet's cousin, and he's going to go back. So really playing with fire here. Now then we see a bit of foreshadowing here as well. Look, "Bid him come to take his last farewell." It is going to be the last time they are conscious together, I should say. Okay? Because, star-crossed lovers take their life. They're going to die. And this meeting that's going to happen is going to be the last time they spend conscious time together, because we're going down that kind of tragedy arc, and it's only going to get worse. All right, and then that's it for that one. So any questions, let me know, and I'll see you soon.